Hey, everybody. Welcome back to NFT Intel. As always, we are glad to have you along. It is Monday, October 10th, and we are going to give you the hottest news. Well, maybe the hottest news on what's worth minting this week, and maybe talk, shoot the, pass the ball around. Can't talk today. Around talking about royalties. Yeah, I need some help here. As always, I am here with my co-hosts, Paul C. and Sol Dozer from the Sol Army. Welcome, gentlemen. It is good to have you along.
Thanks, Kris. Always good to be here.
Always. I look forward to Mondays. Monday evenings are like my favorite time of the week now because we get to you know kick around what we think about some of these mints that are coming up. So we've got I don't know. I think Sorcies is a PFP project, and we got like a community collateral credit project to talk about today. So we're going to talk about Sorcies, and we are also going to talk about Quest Citizens. As always, this is brought to you from the Exodus YouTube channel. You see on your screen, download Exodus Web3 Wallet. Type in exodus.com Web3 Wallet or exodus.com/download, and you can get right to it. So from there, we're going to just hop right into our first project. We cut it down to 2 this week because we're usually running long. So we're going to talk about Sorcies first. Which one of you guys has the best grasp here on Sorcies?
Well,
Paul?
Yeah, I've got the intel on this one. So
The
Sorcies,
intel.
we're kicking it off. Supply, 10,000. Price, 1.99 SOL. Minting on Trust Labs Launchpad with some prepays on CrowdSurf, which is something we've seen relatively new here. But it seems like a lot of these Trust Labs projects will be getting prepays on CrowdSurf. For those of you who don't know what that is, CrowdSurf, which was a platform and an NFT we talked about probably 6 or even more weeks ago, probably more, as a prepaid platform, which is like launching NFTs in advance, and then you can prepay for them if you're really bullish, and then you'll get airdrop them after the mint. So they had a prepay with Flaskies last week, and they'll be doing the same thing with Sorcies this week. It's at a little bit of a discounted price, so pretty good entry point if that's something you're interested in. And the mint date, official mint date's October 15th. So Sorcies, what is Sorcies about? It's a community built through love and building a better tomorrow. So that just sounds wonderful. Love and building a better tomorrow. What more could you possibly want? An exclusive fashion brand with consistent drops every few weeks or months. You're also getting, the usual DAO and then staking for their native token, Soranium, or $SOR. You'll be able to spend your tokens on the fashion brand. You'll be able to rank up your Sorcy, which then allows your Sorcy to earn more Soranium, which is kind of interesting, we'll say.
Why is it interesting, Paul?
Well,
go ahead. Let's dig into why that's interesting.
It takes me back to the good old days of all those node projects on the other chain when you take your token and buff up your node, or in this case, your NFT, to earn even more token. It's the rich get richer kind of scheme. Yeah. And I'll leave it there. The only thing that would kind of like divert it away from that would be additional utility rather than just earning more of the Soranium token. That's a little bit of a gray area right now, at least from reading the white paper alone. Maybe there was more stuff that was announced that I missed. It was, more or less, it gives me similar vibes, their tokenomics, to making a dead god. And then they've mentioned that they've got having events as well, which would each reduce the Soranium staking rewards by 50%. So in terms of what they're doing with their token system, looks like they're taking a page out of DGod's book with that one. But they have like a few more different levels. So like you could start with your Traveler, which earns 10 Soranium per day, and then you upgrade to an Apprentice, which earns 12.5, Elder, which earns 15, a Master, which earns 20. That's the top tier. And after that comes Ascension. which we'll see what Ascension brings. So more or less, Sorcies, the brief rundown, nice community, the DAO and the staking, but it does have a lot of hype behind it. A lot of hype and some really good art. It actually is a lot of like very Halloween vibe art. Like you had it as the cover for today, and I thought you were doing like a Halloween special NFT.
It kind of looks like that, yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that.
They've got some other stuff on their site as well that you're flicking through there, the training and the raffles and the treasure chest. There isn't too much information available about that right now, but it seems like they'll have a good ecosystem behind their Soranium token going. So at least there's more than just upgrading your Sorcy for no reason, I guess, which I'm a fan of. It's always kind of tough there. But yeah, so this one's coming out October 15th, 10,000 supply, 1.99. My big reservation with this is it seems like, and we were talking about it before the show, there's a lot of mints going on right now and not so much liquidity. Market's pretty bearish in general, I would say. I think we've walked back into that territory, and I think minting out 10,000, which we kind of saw with Flaskies, is ambitious at this time. But they do have a lot of hype going into the mint, so it's possible.
Anybody getting Boogle? Anybody getting like Boogle vibes off of these? Little eyes, little black head with hat and whatnot.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, the art style with the negative fill in the head and the eyes popping out like that or highlighted like that, I actually really like them. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see how the mint goes. I'm all of the tokenomics pieces. For me, it's not necessarily a red flag, but we've had a long time to see how that kind of meta plays out, right? Like, and we see that, like, okay, well, DeGods did it. It worked really well for them. A couple other projects did it. It worked really well. But over time, people are just spending these tokens. Like, you stake your tokens to earn your tokens to spend them back to, like, put some cool horns on your, horns on your NFT. Yeah, what's up, Dozer?
I'll call it for what it is. Wants to. It's a Ponzonomic structure.
Okay.
And I'm only okay with saying that because we teach it in the academy. For what it is, you spend the token to make your NFT emit more of that token. That's simply what it is, a Ponzonomic structure. If there's no real utility, eventually that train sort of runs out, and you run out of ways to spend that token. You have to be able to burn it and get rid of it in other ways other than spending it to create more token. Otherwise, it's just like a Ponzi scheme. It just keeps building up bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually people realize it and it collapses. I mean, think back to like the Boryoku Dragons. At the beginning of the year, they used to be the biggest project in Solana, and their token Boku, I think it was Boku, you could spend it on baby dragons and merchandise, and everyone thought it was this revolutionary idea at the time, and the floor price reflected it. It was like over 300 floor price at one point, and now if you look at it 8 months later, it's down to, I think it was 60 the other day I was looking at it. So that sort of structure, we've seen it in so many projects before, and it really only works in a couple handful of projects. So I don't know. I know that part of their white paper here is to spend their tokens on their fashion brand. So really the success of the project is going to come down to the success of their fashion brand.
Yeah. So who else do you know who's actually, like, let's say, okay, so I get Sorcy tokens. I have 4,000 Sorcy tokens, and I can, like, redeem them for an in real life IRL hoodie. Like I know other projects have merch, but, like, can you actually pay for merch from other projects with the tokens?
This is a funny topic, and I think a lot of these projects that do have merch and stuff like that do always have it on the roadmap, but don't really And like it's tough to talk about this right now because this obviously may not be the case, but a lot of them don't go the distance to the delivery stage.
Yeah.
If we're being honest here. So
totally.
In terms of the tokenomic system here, like the whole way to move away from the Ponzonomics is provide utility. And I would argue that at its core, there are a lot of like Ponzinomics token systems, but if you provide that token a utility at the end of it, it removes it from that category, in my opinion. So as long as there's some valid utility behind the Soranium, I'm cool with it. And I think there is, but it's yet to be seen. And it all will depend on like ecosystem adoption as well. Like obviously the one killer thing that we can compare for DeGods is Dust. It's like basically the thing everyone uses. If you're doing FFF raffles, they're in Dust. If you're, I don't know, like you get what I'm saying though, but like it's kind of like almost a secondary token on Solana for like pretty much everything. So it's like you've got so much utility behind Dust, not even within the DeGods ecosystem, that it's honestly super sustainable in that way.
Yeah, I just keep. I think that's a good point, that a lot of projects never get to the fulfillment part, and I think, to me, and I see like the crossover of Web3 and real life. Like there's a whiskey project that's coming out that's minting, I think this week. Bark something, I don't know, but like they already have their IRL whiskey bottles ready to go for their holders. I guess their holders get them. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, but even real life merch projects, like I think back to look at like projects like Tap, like the Alien Planet, like this was a company that was supposed to be Web3 merch and never really got off the ground. That like once you get into textiles, hardware, anything that has like supply chain issues, right? We already live with that every day. Like Web3, I think, is kind of an escape from that. And honestly, tokenomics probably will work better once somebody, in my opinion, work a lot better once somebody figures out a really decent metaverse that everybody wants to go play in. So those are kind of my thoughts.
I think we could spend all day on this topic, honestly, with the
totally.
utility of tokens. Maybe we'll take it to Spaces if people want to continue discussing it.
Great. That would be great.
I would love to talk about tokens in Spaces. Someone bring it up. I would love to.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring up the Spaces lower third, but it's not here for some reason. So anyways, yes, we will be on the Project Intel Twitter right after this program for real life, real time AMA, and also make sure to leave a comment in the chat over there. So let's move on to the next project. We got Quest, the Citizens, and Dozer, I'm going to throw this to you because it sounds like you have quite a bit of knowledge here.
Yeah, for sure. And I apologize for looking down to the left here. I'm looking at my computer. I can't remember all of this off the top of my head, so I need notes.
All good.
There's a lot here.
Yeah, all good.
All right. Project Quest Citizens, supply of 7,777, 2.2 SOL each, minting on October 14th. Quite a bit of SOL, quite a bit of money right there, a little over $500,000. So what do they need it for? So Quest Citizens, they're looking to be the one-stop shop for Web3 research and community management. Those are their words. By offering uncollateralized as well as collateralized loans in a marketplace. And you might think, yeah, we've seen loans before. I mean, Yaw does it. We're seeing a couple marketplaces pop up. But the key in that sentence there is they're offering collateralized and uncollateralized loans. So the difference between the two, right now we typically see collateralized loans in Web3, like through Yaw, where you put up an NFT, typically, and you receive a loan in return using that NFT as collateral. However, they're trying to do the opposite of that, where you can borrow money without putting anything up and risk anything. And they're doing that by creating a credit system in Web3, which to me right away sounds really difficult to do, but they're taking a shot at doing it. And it'll be a challenge, I think, because there are a lot of places people can hide in Web3. They can hide behind usernames, they can fake things, they can hide behind public wallet addresses. I mean, there's a million ways that people could try to rig this kind of system, and there will be a lot of exploits that they'll probably find out early on that they didn't think of. So some bullish news about them is that they have already $1 million in a pre-seed round through venture capitalist funding. And that's a lot of money compared to what they're bringing in for their NFT. I mean, their NFT funding is going to bring in just over $500,000. So this VC round already brought in, 3/4 of the total money that they're bringing in right off the bat. Which I guess then the question is, if they've already brought in so much money through VCs, why do they need an NFT? Well, just like any other project, they're offering utilities through that NFT, and to be honest, none of them really jump out to me as being revolutionary, but they are what they are. So their utilities are the access to their credit facilities, so you need the NFT to check your credit score. I use that in quotes because who knows what they'll call it, but basically the equivalent of checking your credit score. They're offering a rev share through their platform. And then also, like the last project we talked about, they're offering a utility token with a liquidity pool, blah, 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 staking and all of that. Nothing too new there, but it's definitely, to me, not necessary, but I guess it's just not surprising that they're doing that. So that's Quest Citizens for you. There's a lot to take in.
So October 14th, 2.2 SOL. We don't know actually where they're minting yet. I looked on their Discord a little bit earlier and couldn't. They don't have a link up yet. So they're either going to do a launch my NFT or kind of their own thing. It seems. These guys have 55, maybe. No, 22,000 people in their Discord. So. But that doesn't mean anything. Like we saw last week, Flasky's also had over 22,000, and then we're not able to not able to really mint out. They cut the supply. I mean, everybody that wanted to mint got to mint. It minted over half the collection, but then it just kind of stalled. So it'll be interesting to see what this is. So yeah, the credit thing is really interesting only because exactly we are in a decentralized and should be trustless network. And this doesn't mean, for those that don't know, trustless doesn't mean that like, oh, hey, I don't trust Dozer. It means that I don't have to trust him, right? Because we got code that's gonna bring consensus. That's gonna bring consensus to us, right? Like, I mean, we still use escrow services for direct trading or collateralized, in our collateralized loans and stuff. So it looks to me, I'm going to pop this up here and see where we can go. Take this lower third off. So this is for the Quest, the Quest collaboration hub. And basically there's a free plan and there's a paid plan. This is very much in the realm, to me, it looks like very much in the realm of like crowdsourcing, right? Where projects get signed up, people leave reviews, they get tipped on their reviews, they earn SOL. Maybe that also adds to the credit. Yeah, uncollateralized loans on NFTs, I'm not really sure how that's going to pan out. It honestly sounds like a recipe for disaster from the perspective of like, we all live in this ecosystem and we are all very, 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 very familiar with scams. They come at us from all angles that, like, if there is a vulnerability, somebody will try to find it. And uncollateralized loans, man, I wish them the best. We shall see. I do like the fact that you can see in the screen here that on these, they call this the research hub, right? And so you can actually see who the backers of the projects are. You can see you can see their utilities, their reviews, and you can then set up quests. You could set up quests to pay people to go review projects for you if you want, or you could watch NFT Intel every Monday night. I mean, choice is yours. So go there. 622, we made it actually through 2 projects. Once again, first project, Sorcies, October 15th, 1.99 SOL, supply 10,000 on the Trust Labs launchpad. Quest Citizens, October 14th, 2.2 SOL. To be determined where the launch is. And, I would be remiss if I didn't, plug the Exodus wallet for the Web3 download. And then I wish I had this next slide that I don't, for you all to join us on Spaces directly after here to ask us questions, and people who, we have a greater pool of people to answer questions and talk about stuff. And one of the things that's come up this week, you guys are gonna like not like me here. Royalties.
Next topic.
Oh no, come on. Let's talk about it for just a second.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
royalties. What's that?
I'm gonna put it up on screen. 0% royalties. Let's give a brief history lesson here really quick. Who wants to do that? Why royalties?
A brief history lesson on why royalties 0?
Nope. Why royalties in the first place? Where did they come from?
I don't know.
It's a curveball.
You give me the brief history lesson. I was not prepared for this.
Yeah, I know. I was like, here's not a softball. Let's go ahead and throw you a curveball. So, royalties are paid to the project creators. We see royalties and things all the time. When you listen to Spotify, the artist gets a piece of that pie. They get paid royalties. When you listen to the radio, artists get paid royalties. That's for in the music industry. Basically, it is perpetual income for creators of a project. And typically, projects will hit their royalties from 5%. 10% is kind of a lot, but we see that on a lot of projects. But with new marketplaces such as HadesSwap, you can trade without royalties. You can do them OTC and kind of cut the royalties out. And just this week, Frank DeGods announced that DeGods will no longer be charging royalties for their collections. And Twitter was just abuzz because there are very strong feelings. There are very strong feelings on either side. And I'm kind of on the fence of it. Like, I think in some circumstances, like, royalties are good because people need to eat. Artists need to get paid. For some of the other projects, I mean, if they have VC funding, like, why do they need to have royalties? Like, if there's no royalties, then they have to come up with a business plan that actually makes sense after a mint. So I don't have strong feelings on whether they should exist or shouldn't exist. I think that they're beneficial for projects if they're used in the right way. But then you think of, like, oh, hey, somebody who rug collections still get paid royalties on rug collections. Like, there's SOL that just drips into their accounts.
But like, if their SOL and rug collections getting dripped into their accounts, you got to ask the question, why are people trading rug collections? Like, why are you doing that? You know, it's like if they are getting royalties because people are trading the rug collections, I don't have a problem with that, because if people don't want to give royalties to rug collections, don't trade the rug collections.
Right, right, right. But what if they don't know that they're rug collections? Like, let's say it's a slow rug over like 6 months. I mean, we've all seen that, right? Where projects just kind of go to die, right?
I feel like,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I definitely have strong opinion about this, and I have thought a lot about it. With stuff like that, yeah, that's one of those cases where it does get a little bit tough, right? Like it's like you're funding these rug projects, these royalties, and it's sometimes hard to tell, but that's where it comes to do your due diligence and everything like that to ensure you're investing properly into good things. I'm personally a big fan of having royalties. Naturally, I'm super biased based on how the Sol Army was created and everything like
Right,
that.
right.
Um, but yeah, we can go into that a bit more in spaces. But yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely two sides to it. Like the side of anti royalties is, why should I give money to a project that's rugging or has bad experiences? It's like, okay, well, fair enough, but if you don't want to do that, like, don't trade it.
Then don't do it, right? I mean, it's an open
Yeah,
market, and right now we're not only seeing a race to the bottom with royalties. I mean, and this is going to be a meta. People are going to start slashing their royalties because they're going to want to seem more attractive to consumers, right? Instead of actually building a viable product that it makes sense to charge royalties for, right? Because it is part of funding and a revenue stream. Like, revenue streams come in all different places, but when it comes down to it, you actually need to grow your project in order to stay in business. You have to scale, and that's going to be really difficult to do on 0% royalties. Take it out of the rugged collections and you just think about like regular collections. Like, okay, well, are royalties out of hand? Maybe they're too much, maybe they're not. I guess it depends on the project. But um, I was gonna say something about not the rug collections, because that was actually kind of a bad example, even though it's been there. But yeah, we'll talk on Spaces more about that. That's Sol Army, or sorry, Project Intel Twitter handle. I don't have the lower third up, so you're gonna have to remember this. Say it again, Project Intel Twitter. Go ahead.
I'll say I too have a really strong opinion about this, and if you want to hear it, come join us on Spaces. I'll tell you.
Got it. And with that, everybody, we're going to actually wrap this one up on time, because we're headed over to Project Intel Twitter to actually expand on this. Remember, download your Exodus Web3 wallet. It's exodus.com, Web3 wallet. You could Exodus download. We got mobile, we got desktop. And also make sure that you click like and subscribe to the channel. We will be back with you next Monday, whether there's anything good to mint or not. The intel is right here. Thanks for watching, everybody. All right.